Welcome back to another episode of Caps Off. Since Adam left now, I am the one that always introduces it, and he's lost privileges. That's how it goes. Bro. But welcome back, Adam. How are you?
Hey, thanks. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Jack was here last week for one episode, but he's now a little under the weather, so he, COVID season.
Parody, we had two Jacks on last week.
We did. Yeah, Parody.
We had Settlement, we had Parody.
Settlement was great.
I said we did, but I wasn't here.
So
yeah, we literally
we
not
are
a part
the
of this
Caps
podcast
family.
No more, bro.
Yeah,
the Caps On podcast.
Oh, that's your podcast, the Caps On?
Yeah.
I started that when I was on vacation.
In Colorado.
Nice. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hey,
a lot of
well, you need the
Colorado.
cap on because it's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
Cover the ears, maybe?
Yo, it's Caps Day. Hey.
Dude, I'm so excited to be back. I love
give
you
me
guys.
some noggin. Oh,
that was hard.
That was a lot harder than
noggin, dude.
Damn, bro. Concussion
Finding
Protocol?
Nemo's good movie.
No, Tua.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking when I said it. Lion King?
Lion King.
What?
I said Finding Nemo, not Lion
Oh, I thought
King.
you said the Lion King.
The same, though.
Disney, right?
Yeah.
What's better, Lion King or Finding Nemo?
Whoa,
I'm gonna go with the Lion King.
Yeah.
It's iconic,
Why are you saying it
bro.
like that? The Lion King. Like, is it the king of the lion?
Yeah, that's what it is. But
technically,
Lion King. Actually, at the wedding I was at this past weekend, they played
the Lion King. No, I just can't.
No, they did not
wait.
play that song while they were walking out. While they were walking out, while the bride and groom were walking out, they played. What's the not Circle of Life? What's the other song? That's like a pretty song.
Oh. The one with Simba and Nala are in love?
Oh, I love
What's
that
one?
Oh, that's one of my favorite.
Can you see the love tonight?
Can you feel
the
love tonight? It's so good.
That's a great one. So they played that. It was cute. Yeah, it was nice.
The one where Donald Glover and Beyonce are singing that?
Oh, it's beautiful.
I hated that.
Why?
The
Really?
live action one. I just thought it was better.
Okay, the original is way better for sure,
Yeah.
but Timon and Pumbaa, played by Billy Eichner and Seth
are
Rogen,
unreal.
was incredible. So good.
It's actually one of my favorite songs. The one with
it's a great song.
Donald Glover
Phenomenal.
and Beyonce. The problem with that Lion King, though, is like you can't have a voice so powerful like Beyonce to play such a character like Nala, because it's just like all I hear is Beyonce, and Beyonce's not a lion.
No,
If she was an animal, I would argue she'd be a lion.
Facts. She'd be a lioness.
For
oh
sure.
my god.
She might be, yeah. That's
my
a good
God.
point. That's a good point.
She's definitely the queen of the jungle.
I can't even play it. I mean, this part. Many things to tell her, but how to make her see
I love off-season
the
episodes.
truth about my past? Impossible. Takes away
How do you know
from
the
me.
words?
It's my favorite. He's holding back, he's hiding.
How do you know that?
But what I can't decide.
How many times you watched this movie?
Why won't he be the king? I know he is. The king I see inside. Here it is. Bring it all together. Can you feel? Come on, man. The love soon. Come on, Felipe. Bring it in.
All right. We've gone for too long now.
How often do you watch this movie?
Lion King is probably my favorite
Disney movie
of all time.
Wow.
I was actually supposed to go see Lion King the play tonight because my mom's in town.
Tonight?
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm not even
odds of that.
capping. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, I love it.
I've seen Lion King
You should
play a
get
few
the
times.
Broadway lottery thing, and you could still get it for cheap
Facts.
Oh,
if you want to go.
I would love to be Simba.
Yeah.
I wanted
Simba's
to.
cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Disney movie of all time?
Does Pixar count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
100%.
Toy Story. Toy Story's the great. Toy Story shits on Lion King. It's not
Yeah.
close.
Oh, interesting.
What?
Toy Story. The Lion King win an Oscar? No. I'm just
Facts.
playing. I have no idea if it won.
I
I
have
have
no
no
idea.
idea, honestly.
Toy Story won an Oscar.
Toy Story is definitely
point.
the Pixar poster child.
Yeah.
Is
You
it?
know?
I feel like
Yeah.
Finding Nemo is.
No,
Nah,
Toy
hell
Story
nah.
was way more famous before. Finding Nemo, incredible film. Might be a top 5.
They're all good.
Might be a top 5 Pixar film, but I don't know.
Can we
Monsters,
rank
Inc.
Pixar movies?
Monsters
quickly?
Inc. is
Monsters,
incredible.
Oh,
Holy
Monsters Inc.
shit,
is
I love
good.
that
But Toy Story was like the movie
Why are you
that
saying
put
it like that?
Pixar
Toy
on
Story, the Lion King. Like,
Yeah, you do
You're
say
saying
it
it's
funny.
so like
Toy
emphasis.
Story?
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
How y'all say it?
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
It's not Toy Story. It's Toy Story.
Oh.
No, it's
Oh,
Toy Story.
Bro, y'all weird in the Northeast.
Toy
man.
Story.
Bro, you're
Y'all are
weird
weird
in
as shit in
the
the
Toy
Northeast.
Story.
Mid.
Lion King. Not Lion King.
How many kings would you say the Lion? I don't know.
Lion King.
The Lion King.
Adam's back.
Starts bringing the weird questions that I don't know how to answer. And I just kind of
You think we can rank quickly the top Disney
Top
and
5
Pixar
Disney
movies?
All right, yeah.
well, and I don't have them off the top of my head.
Off the dome.
Off the dome.
Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3,
No,
Toy Story 4,
no.
and then Finding Nemo 5.
No. Finding Dory was great.
No, Lion King,
Lion King
Monsters
won.
Inc., Toy Story.
You put Monsters Inc. that high?
Yeah.
Wait, he said
fucking-
Pixar movies, though.
Disney, Pixar. Well, Pixar's owned by
Disney and Pixar.
Pixar is Disney.
Yeah, but Disney isn't Pixar.
That's true. Hey, good take.
Facts.
What else?
Top 5 Disney movies. I would go Toy Story
Finding Nemo's
1.
up there. Let me just pull up a list.
Beauty and the Beast 2.
Facts.
Ooh, good
Such
take.
a good one.
Dude, thanks, bro.
Good take.
We're going to have a lot of fist bumps today because Adam's back.
Because Adam's back. And there's so many good takes flowing over there. What else you got?
Good take.
Yeah, shit.
Cars?
Is it Remember the
Nah,
Titans?
Cars is not that
it
good.
Remember the
Really?
Titans? A Disney,
I think
Disney
it is.
movie?
It is.
Wait,
That's
you
a
don't
great
like
one.
Cars?
I like it, but I don't think it's like a top 5.
Dude, okay.
No,
Cars,
great song.
I got into
Rastafari.
this conversation this weekend. Cars, greatest sports movie of all time.
That's actually a really good take.
It's a
What?
great take.
That's a
Y'all
great
think Cars
take.
is that good?
I think Cars is great. Cars
Dude.
1, Cars 2, and
Cars-
3.
Cars
I never saw
Lightning
the other
McQueen?
ones.
Oh my god. It's a NASCAR film.
What about the
It's-
variation?
We were talking about
No,
I never saw
no,
Planes.
no.
We were talking about what the greatest sports movies are, and I said Cars.
Cars might be the
Cars
greatest
is-
sports movie
it's
of all
amazing.
time.
Really?
It might be, yeah,
Dude,
for
it's up
sure.
there.
Maybe like animated.
I mean, there's like Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
and probably then Lightning McQueen. I mean,
Lightning
I don't
McQueen,
know
yeah,
who
agreed.
else would be there.
Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson.
Nah.
No. Lightning
What about the
McQueen.
Bush? Kenny Bush, whatever.
All
his
the
name was.
Bushes. Bush
All the
Light.
Bushes. George Bush.
Kevin Bush.
I actually went to the George Bush airport on Friday, so it's pretty cool.
My girlfriend,
Speaking
my
of
girlfriend,
Bush,
my girlfriend
great.
told me she wanted to get a dog and name it George so that she can get like a little Halloween costume that's a bush and like that looks like a bush.
It's a lot of steak in one name for one Halloween.
Yeah, I don't
exactly.
Wait,
know
going
about
back
that.
David
to
George.
Disney movies, Incredibles.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I
Incredibles
like
is
that
up
better
there.
than Cars.
Incredibles is up there. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille's amazing, bro.
Is-
I actually disagree. I hate Ratatouille.
Ratatouille was phenomenal.
didn't
Anyone
like
can
Ratatouille.
cook.
It was so
I didn't
good.
like
It was so
Ratatouille.
good. Fucking
I also am like
awesome
very
Gusto.
anti-rats and mice
Well,
right
obviously,
now.
because you
That's
had a
fair.
fucking infestation for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's Despicable
Incredibles
Me,
2.
Despicable Me.
Is the Polar Express a Disney movie?
Wally?
Wally's great.
Is the Polar Express a Disney movie?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Because that's probably number 1
All
for
right,
me.
we
if it
do
is.
got to talk football.
Oh, right. It's a football podcast. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, Ben agrees. Ben agrees with my Polar
What's the best
Express
sports
thing. I
movie
just
of all
wanted everybody to know.
I want to know.
I do
All
want
right,
to know.
So we do. I mean, obviously, slow off season thus far.
Outside of a couple things.
I mean, like Felipe said off the pod, a couple of guys have been like
So
pushing the
many
narrative
things
of the storylines that have been developing, but nothing has actually developed yet. Aaron Rodgers says he's going to go to the Jets. Hasn't been traded yet. Lamar Jackson, no one knows. Other than that, not a ton of huge moves. What else has happened?
Sorry.
Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys. Brandon Cooks to the Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys.
Dan Quinn re-signed to
Dan
the Cowboys.
Quinn to the Cowboys,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
honestly,
I
the
forgot the
Cowboys
little
have made
mermaid.
moves. I would say one the
Yeah.
offseason.
I forgot the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it's a great one because football really is it's really just about Dallas. I mean,
And salads.
that's why it's called America's team.
And salads.
So what are we talking about today?
So,
what I missed?
So today we're going to talk about just because we obviously have some things that it's been a little bit slow. We are going to talk about what's instead of a recap, we're going to do a potential. We're going to talk potential.
Potential.
So we're going to go today.
like
We're going to be
potential.
working with the NFC East and the AFC East.
Let's work with them.
And basically, we're going to go through each team and we're going to say we're going to decide as a unit. We are the GM room right now. The three of us.
G-Unit.
Yes, and we're going to decide.
that's
No,
not
it's
it.
bad?
No.
Also, be careful with that coffee, bro. I feel like you're going to hit that shit off.
Yeah.
We didn't like the G.
No.
Nah,
We are the
nah,
GM
nah.
room. We
unit.
are going to go through
GM.
each team and we're going to basically say
Sorry.
what they need to do to become a Super Bowl contender. All right?
Okay.
Capiche? You got that?
Yeah,
It's a group discussion.
Group discussion. We're going to say, hey, what kind of moves do you think these teams
Let's
could make?
start in the
so that they
NFC
could-
East.
You want to do NFC East
Yeah, I
first?
want to start with the
All right,
salads.
we'll start with the best team in the NFC East, the
So
Giants.
here's how we... What?
I'm kidding. Jesus.
No, it's fair.
So what are we doing here? We're like,
I
we're
just said it.
analyzing the division.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go through each division over the next couple weeks. Today
sick, dude.
we're gonna do both East, AFC and NFC East, and we're gonna go
fucking
through each
fire.
team
East
and we're
Coast,
gonna
East
say,
Coast.
"Can you let me finish?"
You're right.
He's
Sorry.
back. He's interrupting. I'm just gonna
excited.
get this out. All right,
Get it
don't
out.
worry about it.
Get it out.
Talk for
We're
2
gonna go
weeks.
through each team. I'll say it again. We're gonna go through each team and we're gonna figure out as a unit how they can become a Super Bowl contender. Okay, what they need to do in this offseason to improve their squad.
What if they've already contended?
That's fine. What can they do again? Anything that could make them better.
Of course. The biggest
Okay.
room in the world is the room for improvement.
Yep,
You know what I'm saying,
exactly.
Sonny?
Hey.
Hey.
All right, let's start with this with the previous
He's
contender.
back.
We'll start with the Eagles.
Let's start with the Eagles. How are we turning the Philadelphia Eagles into actual Super Bowl champions? Felipe, you tell me.
You get rid of Jalen Hurts, bro.
What?
No, I'm fucking with you. That's for social media. That's for social media right there. Nah, I can't go that far.
Yeah, what?
How do you turn them into actual Super Bowl contender? They are Super Bowl contender. Into winners?
yeah,
Yeah,
Into champions?
Sure. How do we make them better? Right?
How do we make
Like,
them world champions?
What do the Eagles need to improve on from last season that they need for this season?
Well, in all seriousness, the Eagles lost a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the ball.
They did.
They've lost, and luckily they re-signed Darius Slay. They lost some linebackers. Yeah, they lost. No, Fletcher Cox re-signed. They still have C.J. Gardner-Johnson. No, they re-signed Darius Slay. But they lost some pieces on the defensive side of the ball. Luckily, Howie Roseman, one of the greatest GMs in the NFL, foresaw this coming and picked up Nakobe Dean, I think, in the second or third round of last year's draft. And also picked up Jordan Davis, friend of the pod. So I think they are prepared to make another run in the NFC. So, there's not much that needs to happen. I actually think the Eagles lost the Super Bowl because of play calling and not because of talent. The problem is they've lost some talent. I also think, they have Rashad Penny now, running back from the Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Now, over a 2 games,
gas, bro.
Over a 2-game sample size. Over a 2-game sample size.
It's over.
Over a 2-game sample size, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. But the problem is he can't last more than 2 games. But Trey Sermon then afterwards.
Oh, Trey Sermon, his work in the league has been crazy.
Bro, just wait for his sermons.
No, but I will say from a fantasy perspective, draft Rashad Penny and Trey Sermon. But I think the Eagles, you're going to run it back in a weak NFC. There's not much that needs to happen. You got Lane Johnson back on a 1-year deal. You got Jason Kelsey. You did lose Isaac Sumalo.
36.
Yeah. I'm actually worried about the Eagles next year because Lane Johnson 1-year deal, Jason Kelsey 1-year deal. Yeah, 2024.
They're still going to be good again,
I think how would you want to improve what the Eagles did last year and really turn them into a champion?
Well, I think they have the makeup of a Super Bowl team because they were a Super Bowl team. And they still do. They lost some pieces, but the Eagles have the foundation. I think that's what a lot of teams don't have.
Yeah.
They're able to lose pieces and still make it back. They have the coaching staff. I mean, as much as I think Nick Sirianni's annoying as fuck, as annoying as he is, and he embraces how annoying he is, he's been a great coach since he's been there. I mean, he back-to-back playoffs, right? Back-to-back playoff appearances, Super Bowl in his second year, and now all he's got to do is win one to get over the hump. So, I mean, they got, like you said, they great teams. They know how to go out in free agency and add pieces. They did that last year. Obviously, the biggest name being A.J. Brown. But also, on the low, they're drafting to replace guys who they know are going to leave. Because you sign a free agent, you know you're not going to be able to retain everybody. Mm-hmm. So you get these guys for cheap. You get them in the draft. You get the Nakobe Deans in the second round, who was probably the best linebacker, or one of them, coming out of the draft last year. Nobody knows who he is because he barely played last year. But you give him some more PT this year, he can do something special. So I don't think the Eagles have that much to improve on. I mean, they have a foundation that just made the Super Bowl. Go win it now.
Do you think they could make the Super Bowl again?
Yeah. I mean, look, they have the 10th pick and the 30th pick because they have the Saints pick as well. So I think they do draft someone on the defensive side of the ball, or in true Philadelphia fashion, they draft an offensive tackle, knowing that Lane Johnson's likely going to be
that's what you got to do.
Likely.
That's what you should do.
But they're so set up for the future, and that's why I think we keep coming back to the Philadelphia Eagles having the blueprint and the makeup and the foundation to keep making runs in the NFC, especially in a weak NFC, because you have these picks, because you have a good offensive line, you have your quarterback and everything.
And you have your quarterback on a rookie contract.
Exactly.
But people forget and don't really realize this, I think, but Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. So when you go from a first-round pick to a second-round pick, you go from a 5-year contract to a 4-year contract, which means he just finished his third year?
Mm-hmm. No, he's going into his third.
Nah.
Yeah, wasn't he a rookie lot? Or did he sit behind Carson Wentz?
No, he just finished his second
year. He finished his second year?
Yeah. Just finished his second
I think he finished his second year.
Okay. I thought he came out. I thought he was in Tua's class.
I don't know. He might have been in Tua's class.
He might have been in Tua's class. Yeah, he was in Tua's class.
So he just finished his third year.
Yeah.
So you're talking now, this is going to be his 4th year. They're going to have to extend him. And look, Jalen Hurts is getting the bag. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get the bag, right? I don't know why I said it that way, but he's not going to get the bag. He's going to get the bag. When you give a quarterback the bag, we've seen how that's gone. We've seen how that's gone in history with the league. I mean, the Seahawks were able to win when Russell Wilson was on his rookie contract. As soon as you give him that big contract, it's tough. Free agency, you're not able to add the pieces that you want. You're not able to re-sign guys that you really want to re-sign. So the window for Philly is right now. I'm not saying they're not going to contend for Super Bowls in the next few years. They definitely can, but right now is the window of opportunity while Jalen Hurts is on a rookie contract.
Fuck around. Let's go get D-Hop.
Dude, you've been saying that about every team.
That's fucking ridiculous, though. Because if the Eagles had D-Hop, that might be the greatest receiving room we've ever seen.
They don't even need it.
We've ever seen. Like D-Hop, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown would be absolutely ridiculous. You hit every point you want to hit on in the receiving room. You got the big guy, you got the speedy guy, route runners, everything.
Can I ask you an honest question? Remember, it's rooted in honesty.
Am I scared of the Eagles and the NFC?
No. Are you worried about actually giving Jalen Hurts a huge contract? And now let me preface why I'm asking that question. Because as a rusher, he was fantastic. That's why arguably he was in the MVP conversation. But as a passer, don't get me wrong, he was great. But when you look at his numbers strictly as a passer, I mean, sorry, let me get it. He only threw 22 touchdowns, 6 INTs.
Yeah, but he ran for so many touchdowns.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. As a passer, does that
but
worry you at all?
But touchdowns I'm not worried about.
But he
So
also
give me the
wins
other
the
stats.
games.
Give me the other
QBR,
stats.
66.4 pass rating. He had a great pass rating of 101.5.
Okay, so right now we're
when you
good
look
so
at
far.
other quarterbacks in that class, he as a passer he was pretty good, but it's not like crazy standout
not
like
Burrow.
you've seen with Justin
I don't-
Herbert or Joe Burrow. So
I don't even think something about the quarterback position has evolved at this point because today's game is so like the quarterback position is so much more run heavy than it used to be, and I feel like Jalen Hurts not throwing 35 touchdowns shouldn't be a knock on him. He still wins games.
I agree.
How
He
many
still
rushing
went out and
touchdowns
took his
did he
team to
have?
the
he
Super
had a
Bowl.
lot. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, a lot of rushing
That's the
touchdowns.
same.
Here's
By the
thing.
way, I have the same argument towards why like Daniel Jones I think is worth investing in to some degree.
Yeah, but it's different because
he doesn't have to just because he threw 15 touchdowns doesn't mean like he still won games. He still got us to the playoffs and won a playoff game. So like as long as you're like the whole point of the game is to win, right? So as long as you're winning, I don't think that if you're throwing, like I said,
I see what you're
35
saying.
touchdowns plus matters so much.
I see what you're saying, but then also like Jalen Hurts just had more total touchdowns than Daniel Jones, like period.
I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is
Totally.
infinitely
I think that's
better
what
than
you're
Daniel
saying.
Jones. I'm saying it's a similar
get it. No,
argument
I get-
of like
I get
why
it. I get
it's
it.
worth
I
it.
get what you're saying. I don't. Again, the Jalen Hurts drives his team all the way down the field.
13 rushing touchdowns. By the way.
Okay, right.
It's a lot.
That's a
Crazy.
fucking shit ton. That's
Yeah.
running
running back
backs don't get
numbers.
that. That's
Yeah.
like top 3 running back numbers in the league. And so Jalen Hurts drives his team all the way down the field, 15-play drive, and hands the ball off to Boston Scott or throws to Dallas Goddard. He gets tackled on the 1-yard line and he gets a rushing touchdown. And that's supposed to be less than a passing touchdown because Goddard couldn't extend the ball into the end zone. So
I
he gets a
agree.
rushing touchdown instead of a passing touchdown. Touchdown's a touchdown. And he's converting those at the end of the day. But, I mean, to answer your question, am I worried about giving Jalen Hurts a contract? No, because I understand the landscape of quarterbacks today. Daniel Jones just got, what did he get? 140 million?
Yeah, something
Got a lot of
like
money.
140 million, bro. If Daniel Jones get 140
that.
million,
80 million guaranteed. I think, 85
somebody that's twice as good as Daniel Jones should
Like Jalen
definitely get a
Hurts.
good contract.
No, I
Somebody
agree.
who's 10 times better than Daniel Jones should get 10 times a contract. So I'm not worried about it. You need a quarterback to win in this league, but I do worry about the fact that like the past history that we've seen, once a quarterback gets a fat bag, it's hard to put a team around them. Quarterbacks have to take discounts.
Yeah.
What Patrick Mahomes did with the Chiefs was a lot of people were like, fuck, for $500 million, like this shit, like this guy is taking all the money, but it's really not because it was a 10-year contract and they gave the Chiefs flexibility to go and make moves because the money was dispersed so long over time.
Yeah.
So,
To clarify, I'm also you had something?
No, we just got to move to the next team.
Yeah, just to clarify quickly, I'm not worried about it. I agree. I think the value of the quarterback position has changed in a way that rushing necessarily is not something that you use to discredit a quarterback.
yeah, no.
So when I look at Jalen Hurts, yeah, you need your quarterback. The way I kind of look at it is like it's like what the Ravens should have done. Now they wouldn't have extended Lamar after his MVP season, obviously, because that was like his rookie year or sophomore year or whatever it was. We're both dealing with
That was
something.
Colorado.
I look at it in a very similar way. It's like he had such a fantastic year. They should have extended him. They run into that issue, with the Ravens right now. So I'm not worried if you're the Eagles, if you get Jalen Hurts, but I am curious how that contract's going to look in terms of flexibility. But he deserves the bag, man.
They got burned the last time they gave a quarterback a big contract.
Yeah.
They got burned.
We got to move to a
Carson
different team.
Wentz.
Before we get to Felipe or my team, let's talk about the Commanders. What do you think the Commanders need to do this offseason to
Lamar Jackson.
become a contender?
Lamar Jackson.
Wait,
Lamar Jackson. There we
right,
go.
right.
Washington is a good team. I think that they can
Washington's
contend.
good, man. They were solid.
I think they can contend for the playoffs. as they are. Well,
They did last year.
Sam Howell, I don't know. You
They
need a quarterback.
contended for the playoffs last year.
Yeah, with like
and they
6
didn't make
different
it
guys
because-
coming in under center.
Yeah, because they were just in the best division in football. That's the only reason they didn't make
They
it.
weren't a good. Yeah, right. I mean, it's hard to compete when you got Cowboys playing so well, the Eagles playing so well, and then the Giants also a winning record and got to the
10
playoffs.
or 9 wins maybe.
So,
I think
but
they might have got 10.
they have a good team as far as the overall makeup. Like everybody laughed when I said the Panthers were good last week, but the Washington's in a similar place, but with actual flashy names. Like they have Terry McLaurin, they have Curtis Samuel, they have Chase Young on the defensive side of the ball.
Who's a running back?
They got Brian Robinson, who came out to mini-min, and automatically when he got shot and he missed a couple games before the season, he got shot. Came out after a couple games, came back to mini-min, and 50 Cent coming out into the field like that video that went viral. Then all of a sudden you have a top 5 running back in the league when somebody comes out like that. But no, they have flashy pieces, and I like what Ron Rivera. Wow, that was hard to say. Ron Rivera is doing over there. He obviously took the Panthers to the Super Bowl, and I think he can. I'm not saying he's going to take Washington to the Super Bowl, but you need a quarterback. That's why I worry about them.
He's an experienced coach who's led teams to success.
They have pieces to trade for Lamar.
That's
I
what
would
I'm
go
saying.
get Lamar.
It's very crazy for me when I look at the Commanders because we're saying the conversation is like, how do we turn the Commanders into Super Bowl contenders? And I think the Commanders are actually one of those weird teams where you're not looking at them right now as a potential contender, but as soon as you would go and get a Lamar Jackson, what he does from a dynamic standpoint and with the pieces on that offensive side of the ball, as well as having a Chase Young, as well as having some guys to support what Lamar's done. Like, we haven't seen Lamar with actual supporting cast on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe
have that.
If the Washington Commanders went and got Lamar Jackson, you would see them contending in the NFC. Like, I genuinely believe that.
So you think that the thing for them, question, does it specifically have to be Lamar Jackson, or do they just need an elite level quarterback?
And I think because, like, look, I don't think you go and get Aaron Rodgers and you have the same effect. I actually don't. Because I think Aaron Rodgers is a very arrogant prick, as Jack Perotti would say. So he's only going to go to a place that he actually wants to actually be there. And I think,
wants to actually.
Yeah, I realized I said actually twice. Actually.
Dude.
I think Lamar Jackson goes to the Commanders, and only Lamar Jackson, you turn them into a potential contender in the NFC. I do believe that. They only have 1 pick in the first, though, so I don't even think they can do the...
They don't have a trade package available, basically, to build for them.
But because Lamar Jackson hasn't signed the non-exclusive franchise tag, that is null and voided. Like, the ability to trade for Lamar to negotiate with the team and then go somewhere, and then the Commanders have to give up 2 firsts, can't happen because he hasn't signed that non-exclusive.
You should be his agent.
I'd be a good agent. I'd be a good agent.
He needs one.
Yeah. Also, don't forget the fact that Baltimore and DC are very close to each other.
Yes,
it's true.
So it's easy
Wouldn't have
for
to
Lamar.
uproot his life.
Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, not as a Cowboys fan, but I think if Lamar goes to Washington, that's the best team in the division. So.
Whoa. More than the Eagles?
More than the Cowboys?
Yeah, boy, it's just that they have the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
And so when you have talent around them, I mean, granted, they figure it out. Like, because obviously, like, the offense is going to change. Granted, they figure it out. They have weapons everywhere. Then I think they're the best team in the NFC East.
But
if Lamar comes to the NFC, though, he's the best. He's the best quarterback.
He's the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah.
I agree. But I don't also think that's a hot take.
No, it's
like,
not.
he's won an MVP. Right?
Yeah, no, it's not a hot take.
All right.
But it was still a good statement.
I'm telling you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're trying to downplay it? I thought it was still a good statement.
Bro.
Dude, so many fist bumps, bro.
Nice fist bumps.
All right. We'll save the best for last. We'll talk about the Cowboys.
That's what I was going to say. The Giants
Yeah,
last.
it took me a second.
What do you think the Cowboys need to do to be Super Bowl contenders?
Am I going? No, I mean, what do they need to do?
I think they're actually closer than they've been in the last couple of years.
I said that last week, and everybody just kind of looked at me. But
I would have supported you.
Yeah, thanks.
I think they were handicapped by Ezekiel Elliott. Like, don't get me wrong.
By his contract.
By his contract, but not only that, I find that the offense was so much more dynamic when you had Tony Pollard and when you did give him the ball.
Tony
Pollard.
You felt like you had to use Zeke.
Exactly. You were handicapped by what you had to do with Zeke. And I do think Dak Prescott is one of the most underappreciated, underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. And finally, you give a weapon that
was almost MVP that one year.
That's true. And that's true. And he's almost had the same numbers as Joe Burrow if you look at him.
Yeah. They're the same.
That's true.
That's true. You know what I'm saying? Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott. Very similar numbers, but nobody wants to give love to Dak Prescott.
Can we clip that?
We can't clip that. Can we clip that?
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, can we clip that?
Yeah.
Why are you sitting up? What are you going to do?
No, sit back.
Sit back, relax,
Clip it
enjoy
right
it.
now. Live clip.
He didn't hear anything. We just
Yeah.
said,
I
fine.
think finally you add Brandon Cooks, support CeeDee Lamb. It's a deep ball threat, one of the most underrated, wide receivers in the NFL. Over the last couple of years, he's been one of the most consistent. And then you go out and get Stephon Gilmore, a corner that can support Trayvon Diggs. So
A lot of supporting.
support.
A lot of support.
A lot of support.
Bro, we're so
they got
supportive.
Micah Parsons.
number zero.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited actually for the Cowboys. I think I don't know exactly what they can do. I think they win the division, and that's only rooted in the fact that you haven't had a division repeat winner in like 20 years. So I feel like
I think they win when Jerry sells the team.
Well, that's never going to happen until he dies. So
Yeah, it's true.
but I think the Cowboys are close. But what would the Cowboys need to do right now heading into this draft to actually turn them into that contender?
Felipe?
Because I can't speak on the Cowboys.
Well, you just did for a
But, like,
while.
I can't-
I thought
Good
you did
job.
I thought you did it
Good
very
job,
eloquently.
bro.
I thought you did a very
Thank
good job.
you, Felipe.
I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't know. Like, you had
hated
to
that.
articulate it like that.
He said eloquent.
But,
Eloquently.
I think the
Elephant.
Cowboys have already done what they need to do in order to really contend for a Super Bowl. They've done what they haven't done in the past offseasons.
Aggressive sip.
They haven't added pieces that they've needed the past few offseasons. Last year, they thought Michael Gallup was going to be that guy coming off an injury for some reason after letting go of Amari Cooper for like a 5th or 6th round pick. They didn't do anything. You didn't add – Trayvon Diggs was coming off an all-pro year, yes, but still one of the most yards given up – or the most yards given up by CB that year. And you didn't add any corner help. So – again, the Cowboys haven't done anything in the past in free agency. This year, they do it differently because they saw that teams that are having success are going out in free agency and making moves. It's not always the big and splashy moves like the Chargers last year. It doesn't always come together. But when you have a solid foundation and you add a piece here and there to support your team and what you already have, then we've seen that have success. It's what the Eagles did. It's what the Rams have done. So the Cowboys have done that with Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, as you said. I mean, look, you pointed it out. The receiving core, like that's what they needed. Brandon Cooks underrated. Stephon Gilmore coming off a top 10 PFF year. Adam loves talking about PFF.
I do.
A few years removed from Defensive Player of the Year. And he's going to be the CB2. Well, he's probably going to trail receivers and travel with them. But
How many touchdowns did Dak throw last year? Because I know Jack always brings up his interceptions, but like, did he have
Dak-
a good touchdown passing year?
I mean,
don't
just
even
he
remember.
missed
think
half
Joe
the year, so it
Burrow
doesn't
and
really
then-
matter.
Oh, he got hurt, right?
He missed like half the
Think
season.
Joe Burrow and multiply it by 8. And that's
Yeah, I was going to
Dak's
say
best.
subtract like 2. But
Yeah, well, Dak missed like
I'll tell
half
you
the
right
season.
now. He
Dak
had
threw-
23.
I forgot that he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dak had 20.
That's pretty good. 23?
Yeah,
So he
23.
was hurt?
Yeah, he missed quite a few games. So I mean,
15 INTs.
Yeah. How many games did he play?
I don't care that much, though.
I
How
don't
many
know,
games did he play?
Like 10,
12.
12.
Okay.
games.
Not quite half
Missed
the
5
year, but
games.
he missed, yeah.
Not quite. Yeah, he missed 5 games.
I mean, look, you also have. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no. So I think the Cowboys are in position now. You address needs that you're going to have to address in the draft. So you address those needs, and now you kind of have the flexibility, which I think that's when you're at your best. When you're entering a draft and you have the flexibility to go get what you kind of want rather than what you need. Don't get me wrong. Like, you got to fill
Best
the interior.
available?
Yeah, best available. You got to fill the interior defensive line. You
Yeah.
got to add some linebacker help because Micah Parsons, who was drafted as a linebacker, has just become an edge rusher at this point. So fill those gaps. You bring back Leighton Vander Esch. Like, I think the Cowboys are as complete as they have been. And if they want to go add a flashy piece in the draft, they have the ability to. Bijan will be there probably at the end of the first round. Or trade up maybe. Go get somebody you really, really want. I like the Brandon Cooks edition, but maybe you trade up and go get
Another wide
one of the
receiver.
top 3 receivers that are in this draft.
Dak also needs to stay healthy and consistent. Because
Yeah, I don't really
I feel
worry
like
about
he's
Dak's
always
health.
hurt.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, that was like a fluke injury.
Yeah, his injuries have all been fluke. So it's not like a consistent hamstring or a consistent ankle or knee or something like that.
I think the Cowboys are
feel like
actually
he's always
everyone dogs on Felipe and the Cowboys for like the Cowboys year. It's their
The
final
Cowboys
year.
are
Like,
always good. The
Yeah,
Cowboys
that's the
are
problem.
always
Well,
good.
that's the problem.
Like,
is that they're always good and
the
they
floor
always
is
disappoint.
super. The floor's
Yeah.
always been high with them, but I actually do think the Cowboys are going to have a better year than the Eagles.
Why? Why do you think? What makes you think that?
Well, like I said, there hasn't been a repeat division winner in over 15 years or
long
something.
ass time.
So
Yeah.
just if I'm taking my chances, I think by saying that, the Cowboys should have a better year. But I also think there's something to be said about letting go of Zeke, someone that's handicapped your entire salary cap for an extended period of time.
Handicap the salary cap on
Handicap
caps
salary
off.
cap. Oh, whoa. So yeah, I like the Cowboys this year. I actually do. Do you know their odds this year?
To win the division. What are the Cowboys' odds?
Well, if you don't know, you can head over to thegameday.com and find all the best sportsbook offers and deals and see what our analysts are talking about for
curious.
betting. But let's check the odds.
Let's go.
And then we're going to get into the Giants, the best team in football.
Also, while you guys are looking at their odds and whatnot, if you are listening or you're watching, check out thegameday.com. I mean, we've got everything, from betting analysis to FanDuel and DraftKings and BetMGM and BetRivers and all these promos that we're running. We got a lot of good stuff on our website, so definitely check it out.
NFL. What are we looking at?
We're going to make it better.
So Philly is plus 110. Dallas is plus 170.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is on
What about to win the Super Bowl?
What about
to win to make the NFC or win the NFC Championship?
To win the NFC Championship? Let me just ride that.
I got you. All right. The Eagles are plus 350 and
to win the NFC?
NFC Championship winner, and Dallas is third at plus 650.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Guess who's fourth?
Giants?
No. The Detroit Lions.
Damn.
That's
Plus
terrible.
900.
That's a stretch.
So, yeah, you said plus 650. I like the Cowboys at plus 650 to win the NFC. That's
the Vikings are low.
Well, they're going to regress. I got rid of Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the Giants.
How do you turn the Giants into a Super Bowl contender, Matan?
Give Daniel Jones a super good wide receiver.
Well, they gave him sort of that.
Darren Waller. Yeah. Fine. You need good receiving weapons. I still think that we need a breakout wide receiver.
Like a DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, like a DeAndre Hopkins. Because, if D-Hop could go to every team, then every team would be awesome.
You want to be in all seriousness, I'm just trying to pull up their picks. They have 10 total picks right now. I think, do they have 2 firsts? Any chance
I think they do.
We're pulling it up right now.
I don't remember. But the Giants need a top 10 wide receiver in order for them to be an actual contender. Right now, they're not that. Daniel Jones was throwing to milkmen, to
many men,
Costco workers, as Felipe likes to bring them up sometimes.
Costco's good too.
Like
He's had a Costco order.
Richie James was okay, and Isaiah Hodgins was okay, but those guys are not going to do it for you. I think we
only one first.
I think we re-signed Darius Slayton this year, who has been really good, but he's not a number one wide receiver.
No.
Looking at it,
he could be a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
We re-signed Sterling Shepard, who's coming off ACL.
Oh, speaking of the Giants, sorry to interrupt. Falcons star linebacker Deion Jones is visiting the Giants. Actually, a little older, but would be a good addition.
The Giants' defense actually was not their problem last year, so I'm glad that they're adding to their defense always. But the defense was actually pretty solid. It was definitely the offense, which also was decent. Of course, the Giants made the playoffs and won a playoff game, but
I'm looking at the Giants
weapons.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Giants.
Saquon's going to play one more year with the Giants before he's going to go.
I'm looking at
else.
the Giants draft picks, and they don't have many in the first 2. They only have 2 picks, obviously, in the first 2 rounds. I could see the Giants, or not even see it. The Giants should take that only first and chase after a T. Higgins or a Michael Pittman.
Facts.
I don't think the Colts do it, but a T. Higgins, a Michael Pittman Jr.,
Mike
Evans, guys that really can provide a dynamic force to your offense. And I think why would you do that? Everyone's going to be from the Bengals perspective, why would they trade T. Higgins? Well, the fact of the matter is the contracts are going to catch up with you. Joe Burrow's going to get a contract. Jamar Chase is going to get a contract. Joe Mixon's also now in a very Zeke similar type of situation from a handicap perspective. And I don't know. I think if you can get one of those guys, the Giants actually can be a far more improved team because to make the playoffs in a loaded NFC East, I think the Giants are actually pretty underrated because we saw what a culture can do for an entire team.
The other thing that the Giants always need to improve on is the offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the numbers off the top of my head, but I don't remember if Daniel Jones got sacked a lot. Can you look that up? But the thing that I do remember is that we have an explosive running back like Saquon Barkley who just never could break through because there was never a hole for him to get through. And you have a guy who's as elite as Saquon, you need to be making rushing lanes for him.
Yes,
because then we're just underutilizing, right? We're underutilizing a guy who's going to ask for $40 million a year, whatever.
Yeah.
Not actually, but
I would say yes and no. Saquon creates a lot of his problems.
Okay.
Saquon's not a downhill runner. He's actually one of the worst downhill runners in the league. And part of what makes him great is what makes him bad.
Is that because of statistics or because of his ability? Because if it's because of statistics...
No, it's not because of his ability. It's because of it's decision-making. It's not his ability. If he wanted to go downhill, he would.
Yeah.
But because of his big play ability, he's always relying on it. He runs so much east and west. He's not going north and south.
It's true.
And so, like Saquon.
But even if you watch, I watch the Giants every fucking down.
of course
If
you
you
do.
watch the Giants every down, Saquon goes up the middle, like straight, exactly like what you're talking about, straight up the middle. There is no space for him ever. He gets half a yard. When he then bounces around to the side, he makes himself a play and he breaks through. Because there's no one there to blow. He just is fast enough. You know what I mean? Like that is actually when he has been more successful on a down to down basis. Maybe, I don't know, long term, but like if you're just watching the Giants, you're just like, why the fuck isn't Saquon going anywhere? Because there's no space for him. The offensive line doesn't make any holes. I don't think Daniel Jones has been getting sacked so badly, honestly. But
Remember Le'Veon Bell?
dude, Le'Veon Bell was the most patient runner.
He would sit there
and wait for the hole.
And Saquon could be a little bit better at that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's a home run
that's
hitter.
super fair.
He's a home run hitter.
Fair.
But I mean, I agree with both of y'all. I don't think there's like that much. The Giants are one of the most boring teams to analyze because, like, again, add a receiver and they're going to be good. You don't, and they're just kind of they're mashed potatoes. You know, nobody really wants mashed potatoes. Like,
I disagree. I like mashed potatoes.
I like mashed potatoes too, but it's like a side thing. You know,
My mouth watered.
I'd rather have like a fully loaded baked potato.
Hey, how
The
many Super
skin's
Bowls have the Cowboys won in the last 30 years? All right, relax.
Yeah, but how many?
over there.
Okay.
Relax over
I'm
there.
so tired
Last 32.
I'm so tired of NFL fans bringing up the what's your playoff success over the last 20 years? How many Super Bowls have
He's
you
taking
won?
unnecessary shots at the Giants about them being boring. I'm going to take
That's not
unnecessary
a shot.
shots.
I'm just being. We're analyzing teams. Like I
don't
said,
like it.
It's a fair
you
take.
you add a receiver to the Giants, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, wow, this team is pretty good.
Whoa,
I just think
whoa.
the Giants have the least talent in the NFC East. Like I think
But that's not a hot take.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm just backing up what I've been saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything we say is like, it's not a hot take. I'm just like, it's not supposed to be a hot take. I'm just like, when we analyze it.
Yeah.
Don't say anything unless it's hot.
Oh shit. Well, no.
If a hot person says it, though, it is a hot take.
Felipe.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so kind.
Everything Felipe says is a hot take.
bro. I got you.
Finish your hot take.
No, I'm just gonna say like the Giants. You add talent there, and they're gonna be better. That's any team. I think they're the most. I think they have the worst talent in the NFC
right. They
East.
need
but
more-
if you
more
add a
talent.
receiver,
Yeah.
then you all of a sudden it's like there's more ammunition there. When you think about Darren Waller, I mean he's a receiver playing tight end, but while he had one of the most productive tight end seasons ever, like a few years ago, outside of that season, he was in Vegas for like 4 or 5 years. He had one season that had more than 3 touchdowns, like one season that went over like 1,000 yards, maybe. It might have been 2. But it's like he's just been so injured throughout his whole career. So I'm not even like so confident in Darren Waller.
Yeah, me
so I just think if the Giants are in a position, they're good. They're not great.
Neither
they're
am
not
I.
close to great. And they're above Washington right now because Washington doesn't have a quarterback. That's what I'll say.
I agree.
But you give the Giants a weapon, a top tier weapon at receiver, then I think you move them clearly over Washington, and they're still number 3. That's why I think they're kind of boring to analyze because I don't think they can move that much further up and that much further down.
It's fair. I was going to say if you put Daniel Jones on the
Giants
Commanders.
for the division.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll come back in a year.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
Adam's been waiting for us to move to the AFC East.
All right,
now.
let's talk about the AFC East. Yeah. You want to talk about them? Let's talk about.
they're
we'll
East.
do Dolphins last.
Let's go by. Okay.
All right, we'll do Dolphins last. Let's talk about.
I'll be
the
objective.
Jets. Let's talk about the New York Jets. How's that? What do the New York Jets need to do in order to become a Super Bowl contender? 1, 2, 3. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look, the Jets are on the verge, obviously, of being those contenders with Aaron Rodgers. I also think the fact that they're going to retain that 13th overall pick and be able to add like an offensive tackle or like a serious pick is going to be super beneficial for them being contenders. My one worry with the Jets being that contender comes down to Aaron Rodgers, as we've always said, as everyone has said. Can he buy in, or is he going to disrupt what that young culture's building together? But I think the Jets actually, if you could take that 13th pick, or you can take, I think, do they have 2 firsts? The
Jets?
Yeah.
I thought they had 1, but do they have 2? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Take a pick and go after. I know we always keep saying a D-Hop, but go after potentially another wide receiver. Like,
Are there any other receivers that could be on the move, like superstar receivers?
I mean, look, Odell wants to go there, and
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers wants Odell,
but
but
Odell's not that guy.
if Odell's going to command $15 million, as much as I love Odell and as much as
Nah.
I think he's one of the better receivers in the NFL, even though he's coming off 2 ACLs, you don't give him $15 million. So
he's coming off 1. He went back in and he played in the Super Bowl and then he tore it again.
yeah, that's 2 ACLs.
Yeah, okay. But he was
2
back.
for the price of 1.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Jets are on the verge of being those contenders. I think you take that 13th overall pick. You obviously do not trade it for Aaron Rodgers. You add an offensive tackle. You know, hopefully in the draft you can add another center or something, because that offensive line was worrisome last year outside of the quarterback position. And I think you just.
I mean, yeah.
What?
I was just gonna say. I mean, I really just think it comes down to like their quarterback away. Their offensive line.
I don't think they're a quarterback away.
I do.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets are a
Zach Wilson
quarterback away.
was so fucking bad, bro. Like, you put an actual competent quarterback, they're going to be an actual.
How are they
playoff
not a
contender.
quarterback away?
Because I think that offensive
He
line
thinks
is
they're
not
more than
something.
just a
Yeah, I
quarterback
think that
away.
offensive line is not something that you just add a better quarterback in there and then poof, like they're obviously they're better because Zach Wilson. Again, we use the term handicapped what they can do in their ceiling, but when I look at the Jets, I think that there's other holes. Not that I can come up with on the other, right off the top of my head, but I think that the Jets, like, you don't just add Aaron Rodgers and you go win a Super Bowl. Like, you still have teams in the AFC that you would take over them. I think they're obviously far more improved, but you need to keep adding pieces. And I would have rather get Lamar Jackson than Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, I'm not hot. Like, Allen Lazard's a good wide receiver 3, but he's now your wide receiver 2 because Elijah Moore's gone. Yeah. And Felipe was so high on Elijah Moore and they shipped him away.
Yeah,
so now, like, and the rumor in New York, per my multiple sources, is that people were saying that these young guys are starting to get upset with how Aaron Rodgers has been handling the situation. Of course. Now, my sources are strictly on Twitter.
Good one.
But yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
They are on Twitter.
No.
But yeah,
Sauces.
I think they're like, how do you turn the Jets into a contender? Obviously, you keep the 13th overall pick. You get Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, you can get another weapon. You build that offensive line, as any fucking team should.
Always.
But you need to use that 13th overall pick, I think, for a strong offensive lineman.
I agree.
Thanks, man. Anything
Felipe,
else?
anything to add to Adam's analysis?
Actually, no. That was pretty close. We've just been talking so much about the Jets, and I feel like we've addressed it.
I agree.
What Adam just said is really it. I think they do go get Aaron, and I think Rodgers provides more upside than risk. So you do go do that. If you can keep your first-round pick, go for an offensive lineman. Totally agree with that as well. And I don't think you go get Odell. 2 ACLs. I just don't think
you definitely do not.
I just don't think he's great for the culture at this point. But to your point of the young guys trying to get pissed off based off of your sauces, what we've seen is that Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson all want Aaron. So I think that's okay. Get Aaron, and hopefully not for the first-round pick. But if you do need to give a first-round pick up, you do it.
I agree.
You do it.
Totally worth it.
They're not even going to have to. The Jets are in a really good position. The problem is if Aaron Rodgers retires after 1 year.
What do the Buffalo Bills have to do to go back to becoming Super Bowl contenders?
Trade Josh Allen.
No way.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
What?
I feel like they've made a ton of offseason moves already that have made them decline. But now that those moves have happened, what would you want them to do?
I'd say that the Buffalo Bills coming into this year were as close as you can get to contenders because
they were Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, there was perceived value of Gabriel Davis.
I'm curious where they lie now.
You don't have. Did they add a wide receiver too outside of Gabriel Davis? I don't think so. Right?
I don't think so.
I mean, they lost Cole Beasley. They still have Cole Beasley.
No, they lost.
Well, that's a huge. I think with the Buffalo Bills, I'm actually worried. I mean, Sean McDermott's a defensive-minded head coach, but they lose Leslie Frazier. That was unexpected. You lose Tremaine Edmonds. Matt Milano's obviously a great linebacker still there. But I think the Buffalo Bills have to have that philosophical change. I said that, I think, over a month ago, that I'm not high on running backs, but if the Buffalo Bills were to go and trade for a Derrick Henry, a Dalvin Cook, and have the Cook brothers back there, add a running back that completely changes the offense, I think you could actually see them find more success. But you're asking Josh Allen to play hero ball every single time, and that's where the turnovers come in. That's where this lackadaisical play style comes into play. So if the Buffalo Bills actually want to be a contender, you have to have a philosophical change, and you have to run the ball a lot more. You have to be that gritty team that you see the Philadelphia Eagles became almost throughout the year and really just ground and pound, and then allow Josh Allen to cook. Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. So
the Bills are, by the way, right now tied for second for odds to win the Super Bowl.
Like, that's crazy.
They're plus 900. So are the Eagles, Bengals, and Niners, whereas the Chiefs are plus 600, and then the Cowboys are plus 1,300.
I just looked up the Buffalo Bills on Google, and the first article is Jim Kelly, Bills legend, says the Bills need to start running back for Josh Allen.
Yeah, look at that.
Like, I'm pretty much Jim Kelly.
You are.
You know?
I've been saying.
Jim Kelly, 4 straight Super Bowls, not 1 win.
Well,
facts.
I just think Josh Allen tries to. The Bills expect Josh Allen to do everything himself. Ideally, you'd also go out and get another wide receiver 2, have Gabriel Davis be your wide receiver 3. Like,
Gabriel Davis is not a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, he's not. I do trust, weirdly enough, Sean McDermott, what he's been able to do for that entire culture. So, like, I'm not as worried about the defensive side of the ball. They've obviously lost pieces, but they're going to get Tre'Davious White back, one of the better corners. Obviously, he's coming off an ACL. And they got Jordan Poyer back. So, I don't know. I think the Bills, they just need to have a philosophical change on offense. That's the only way they become a contender. Only way, in my opinion. If you keep doing it the same way, it's not going to happen.
You know what the Bills' problem is?
What's the problem?
And you hinted at, you spoke on it. They've been relying on Josh Allen too much. But I think this wasn't just a Bills problem. I think this was just like society, like the football community and fans and everything. Everybody was putting Josh Allen with Patrick Mahomes. Like these are the two clear best quarterbacks in the league before this season. And this year, one has taken another step forward and is talking. We're talking about him amongst the greats, and the other has fallen back a bit. And a lot of people are saying,
he's not
probably
even
most
two.
people are saying Joe Burrow is better than him. And what we saw with Patrick Mahomes is that he makes Marquez Valdez-Scantling a good really good wide receiver. And before this season, when we were holding Josh Allen with Patrick Mahomes, we thought that Gabriel Davis would have that same type of upside because of Josh Allen that MVS has with Patrick Mahomes. Well, now we know that Josh Allen is not Patrick Mahomes and is not close to Patrick Mahomes. So that upside for Gabe Davis is not that upside that we expected. So you do have to go get another wide receiver. Gabe Davis is not a wide receiver 2. He's not close to a wide receiver 1. Obviously doesn't have to because Stephon Diggs is there. But make him a wide receiver 3, go get another receiver. At this point, I mean, there's going to be some guys available, not probably through free agency, but via trade if you can try to muster something up. We talked about a few of those guys, Mike Evans. The Hopkins is obviously out there. There's, DJ Moore was a guy that you could have gone out and got, but they didn't. So this is some guys. I think you just have to add a receiver. I don't think they're as far off as like a lot of people are saying. They lost some pieces, but as we talk about culture is everything, and they have a culture that wins. Like they've been competing for that division for the past few years now. It's not just it wasn't just last year that they were Super Bowl favorites. So I think you lose a couple pieces, but you need to add somebody, whether it's the draft or free agency at receiver, and just keep building the trenches as we talk about.
I think they're in a position actually also to draft a wide receiver. Like they're the 27th pick in the draft. I've seen some mock drafts have Zay Flowers drop. Shout out University School. I've seen they can go out and get a Quentin Johnson. Like they can get some pieces there. So I don't know. I just think the Buffalo Bills, they're not falling off as much. The defense does worry me in a loaded division. But you got Josh Allen, and he's going to keep you in any single game. So, oh, wow. By the way, just looked up like Buffalo Bills again. I was just clicking. They said they suggested should trade for wide receiver Mike Evans.
Wow. Yeah.
That would actually, honestly,
GM Felipe Fontes.
Yeah, no, I think it fits. You have Stephon Diggs, who's a great route runner. Isn't your stereotypical alpha 1 who's going up in moss and corners. He's a wide receiver 1 because there's an amazing route running ability. Now you go get Mike Evans, a guy who can moss guys like that. You get kind of a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin dynamic. Now, the Diggs is a lot better than Godwin, so it's better. And Mike Evans is still 29. He's not as old as people think. He's been dominating for so long, we think he's old. He's only 29. So I think it would be good in Buffalo. I've also seen Buffalo mocks where they've gotten Jahmyr Gibbs. Who fits the system in terms of like he's a good receiving back. He's probably the most explosive he's the most explosive running back in this draft class. More explosive than Bijan, more dynamic than Bijan. Now Bijan obviously is a better, well-rounded back. But I don't like that for Buffalo because I think they should address probably positions that have a bit more value than running back.
They also got James Cook, and I'm not saying he's Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's from an athletic being a running back that can be a receiving threat out of the back.
Jahmyr Gibbs
is better, obviously. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying like that's not what you need. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you trade a mid-round pick, potentially go get a Mike Evans. You trade another mid-round pick or something. You get a Derrick Henry, ground and pound. A Josh Allen, Derrick Henry read option would be fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it would.
I think you have to. You have to have a philosophical change.
There's no tackling those.
And one thing is like we keep telling Josh Allen make better decisions. Well, help him out. Like help him out, because he has the ability. The reason he's making these decisions is the same thing we were talking about with Saquon. The reason that he's oftentimes getting himself in worse positions than he should be in is because he has the ability to make the big play. Josh Allen has the same ability, so he's getting himself into bad positions, throwing interceptions, where if he didn't have that ability to try to be Superman, then he wouldn't even try. He would be more conservative. He wouldn't be making the mistakes.
Yep.
You also wouldn't get the big plays with that. Well, help him out and go get a receiver that makes his job easier, and he can be that superhuman that you think he is, and also be safer and not have the interceptions that kind of cost him last year.
Yeah.
All right, next team.
Next team.
What do the New England Patriots need to do to become Super Bowl contenders this offseason, huh?
Lamar Jackson.
You don't need to even trade for
always
Lamar
Lamar
Jackson.
Jackson.
I genuinely I dog on Mac Jones all the fucking time. But Mac Jones, as we saw in Alabama, is a quarterback when he has talent and weapons around him that can find success.
Yeah, but
the offensive line was fucking ass in New England last year.
Yeah, they were.
Bill Belichick's
Lamar
philosophy, well, I would even start with Bill, which Felipe is going to hate, fucking send Bill Belichick away because he doesn't want to add any fucking weapons.
Bill Belichick in an old age home.
In an old age home. They never, Hunter Henry, you still have, you gave him a fucking bag. You gave Jonnu Smith a bag. Jonnu Smith's now traded to the Falcons, I believe.
They replaced him with Gesicki?
Which is terrible. Mike Gesicki, as a Dolphins fan, does not even fit their style of offense. Yes, he's going to be with Bill O'Brien.
Yes, he does.
O'Brien had success.
Patriots gritty.
O'Brien had success, but the weapons there are not going to provide you with success.
That's why you get Lamar.
Smith, okay, but
that also helps offensive line.
Lamar helps 90% of the teams in the NFL. So that doesn't do anything to say go out and get Lamar, because the reality is they're probably not going to get Lamar Jackson. So if the New England Patriots cannot get Lamar Jackson, what you need to do with Mac Jones is get another wide receiver, get a DeAndre Hopkins, draft a wide receiver, actually go out. Maybe it is a T. Higgins. Go get your wide receiver.
Lamar Jackson and D. Hoppin are on every scenario.
What's true, though.
Those are two guys that make every team better.
But right now, the New England Patriots are so far from being a Super Bowl contender because of the offensive side of the ball. I don't care if you want to say that the defense, that Bill Belichick is always going to is one of the best coaches.
Replacing Mac Jones with Lamar Jackson is definitely improving the offensive side of the
he's
ball.
throwing that out the window.
How many times
we're saying
if
that
they don't
option
get
is
Lamar,
done.
if they don't get Lamar, then they're very far off from the Super Bowl.
They're very far off. Now, what I would allow them to go, you still build your offensive line. However you may do that. I do trust, Bill Belichick and company to do that. Go get another wide receiver one of some sorts, whether that goes and go get a Mike Evans or go trade for a T, sign Odell, do anything. Like Juju cannot be your wide receiver one. You lost Jacoby Myers. Juju and Jacoby Myers are arguably the same fucking thing. And then allow Bill Belichick at some point to draft a cornerback, because clearly any cornerback he touches turns to gold. So
yeah, he's a fucking dog.
I just think the Patriots are so far off from being a contender. In the current mindset, the mindset needs to shift in saying, you know what? Hey, we haven't said offense is the important thing for us, but in today's NFL, offense is super important, as we fucking know.
Yep.
And Bill Belichick needs to go out and get Mac Jones some help.
Mac Jones isn't that bad.
He's not.
He's not that bad. But you said that, though.
I said that.
He's not that bad. Yeah. No, yeah, I think, obviously, they got to add more talent on the offensive side. Juju was a good step, but he's not a wide receiver one. He's a wide receiver two. I think they're closer to DeAndre Hopkins than any other team is.
Really?
And Hopkins, we know that he has interest. And we've seen the clips of him and Belichick kind of talking together before games, and they have a relationship. Belichick loves DeAndre Hopkins. So if they can get Hopkins
it's hard not to.
Immediately,
It's hard not to love DeAndre.
Yeah. If they can get
As a
DeAndre
player?
Hopkins immediately, the offense is much better.
Well, that's for any team.
Well, but some teams are going to get much better with the player than others.
Fair.
Okay. So, again, not everything has to be a hot take. So, the Patriots get much better with DeAndre Hopkins. All of a sudden, Juju as a wide receiver 2 is appetizing. It's nice. We've seen him be a wide receiver 2 with another great receiver, Antonio Brown. He had his best season ever. So, all of a sudden, it's pretty good. You don't need Lamar Jackson to become a Super Bowl contender, I don't think. You add DeAndre Hopkins, and their run game has always been good. Their defense is really fucking good. And again, everything. I mean, the defense, that's one thing you know for sure with Bill Belichick is never going to be in question. They're always going to have a good defense. So all you need to do is shore up that offense. You add DeAndre Hopkins, and they're competing they're right there with the Dolphins and Bills. The Jets are clearly, with Aaron Rodgers, number one.
I, of course, don't agree. But I think, lastly, just on the Patriots train, my fear is there's reports coming out that D-Hop will likely get released because no one's trading for him, knowing that that's coming. And if D-Hop gets released, I don't see him going to the Patriots. I see him going to a Chiefs. I see him at the later half of his career wanting to chase a ring. And so I don't see him going to New England. So again, Bill Belichick, you either ship him away or he changes his fucking mind and say hey, let's go prioritize real offensive weapons, not named tight ends. And maybe you'll actually become a contender. But as of now, Mike Gesicki.
That's fair. They don't have much on offense. Sure.
All right, that's all the teams, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Caps. Kidding. All right, what would you do to
Miami.
improve the Miami Dolphins to make the Miami Dolphins Super Bowl contenders? Adam?
The Miami Dolphins have already done it. The Miami Dolphins Super Bowl contention hinges on Tua staying healthy. It's a big if. If Tua obviously gets a concussion, it changes everything. But if Tua can stay healthy for a full 17 games, I'm not the only one saying it. Louis Riddick said it the other day, last weekend.
Dude, nice, bro. You got support?
Yeah, me and Louis Riddick, we're
man.
boys, bro. We talked about it. I convinced him. Louis Riddick said the Miami Dolphins are winning that division if Tua can stay healthy. And it's something I've been pounding the table for because they've already done what they've needed to do to become a Super Bowl contender. It now just hinges on health. You had a terrible defense last year. A terrible defense. Byron Jones, is my watch going crazy? Byron Jones, who was someone that you gave a bag to under the Brian Flores era, didn't play a single snap. Xavier Howard is relied upon, but hurt the entire year. Now you got Xavier Howard, you got Jalen Ramsey. Your linebacking core was terrible. You get David Long, one of the more underappreciated linebackers in the NFL. That's not just a subjective take, that's an objective take. Javon Holland's there. You begin to see what the defensive side of the ball looks like with a Vic Fangio mindset. And I think that Miami Dolphins defense is going to be vastly improved. And honestly, they're already contenders if Tua can stay healthy. They don't need to do anything else besides shore up that offensive line, get some depth pieces. Hopefully they can get another offensive lineman. But they're right there. The Miami Dolphins are right there to be a Super Bowl contender. They've already done it. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours.
Great song. Shout out Stevie Wonder. Your turn.
It's my turn?
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, look, Adam's naming a bunch of player names. Like, it's what Dolphins fans do. They're like, oh, we got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
I'm
Like,
sitting with just a couple of biased fans.
like
man.
they are pretty.
I've been
the
objective
Dolphins-
this whole time.
Adam's been objective. I agree. The Dolphins. I mean, like when Tua was healthy last year, they were really good. How many games did y'all lose with Tua starting without getting hurt?
2.
The
1,
Dolphins, I
3,
think,
5.
Yeah, they were like we were 8-3 or 8-5 or
With
something.
Tua as a starter,
Yeah.
healthy, not coming out the game. So I mean, we already know they're pretty good. I mean, the defense can only get better. They were terrible last year. But you bring up like guys like Javon Holland. These guys aren't that good.
Javon Holland was one of the best safeties in the NFL last year.
Oh wait, but you love PFF, right?
Of course.
He was like number 78 on PFF.
Oh,
Was he actually?
He was low. He's really low. I'm making
Well, now
him
I don't like
78.
PFF.
But
Javon Holland is one of look.
How's that medicine taste, huh?
It tastes
Like your
sour.
own?
It
Like
tastes
your own,
sour.
huh?
Javon Holland is one of the more up and coming safeties in the NFL. That is a clear and consensus
Up and
objective
coming.
take.
He went from
one of the-
79th to
I don't know.
78th.
I want to. If I have my laptop because I'm already logged into
giving you
PFF on
shit
there,
out
then
of
I'll
it.
I'm just
I
trying to
don't fucking
find
know.
because
I don't know.
I'm trying to find an objective stat that could back that up outside of being. I'm trying to be very objective in this
Okay,
entire
well,
exercise.
So like the names are whatever. Did y'all add anybody on defense? Did you say
David
that?
Long and Jalen Ramsey.
Oh,
David
Jalen Ramsey,
Ramsey's
big signing. So
David Long is one of the better. He was the second best run stopper in the NFL last year.
Jalen Ramsey's
what position is he?
huge.
The linebacker.
He's a linebacker.
Yeah, the Dolphins linebacking core was terrible. You lost Emmanuel
run
Ogba.
stopper?
Yeah,
Weren't
Emmanuel
y'all horrible
Ogba.
in pass defense?
We were horrible on everything on defense.
Okay, well, 'cause
and
I
you
guess you
lost
addressed-
Emmanuel Ogba in the middle of the year. Emmanuel Ogba is. I'm not saying a great defensive end, but
Yeah.
your defensive ends are now Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Emmanuel Ogba. Like you have weapons there. You have Christian Wilkins.
And then
who-
you got corners too now finally.
The
yeah,
Dolphins have every single
Ramsey-
fucking piece you
yeah.
need to go make a run. It just now hinges on health.
Ramsey's great. Xavier Howard is coming off his
Yeah.
worst season.
He'll be fine.
They gotta improve, I guess, everywhere, which Adam said they're going to do. I don't know. If I'm just going off last year, again, I agree. It's all about Tua staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, they're going to be pretty good. Offensively, they have weapons. Again, I also think they're kind of a boring team to analyze because it's like they didn't do much more than what we saw last year. We saw them last year. If Tua's hurt, they're going to be ass. If Tua's good, they're going to be good.
Yep.
Nah, we got Mike White. Shout out University School.
Jalen Ramsey, I said they didn't add much. They added Jalen Ramsey, which is huge.
Vic
That's
Fangio,
really good.
I think
that's really good.
Vic Fangio is also a huge part that is
Yeah,
not
that's
getting
true.
enough mentioned.
That's true.
He was offered 6 of the 11 DC positions in the NFL
he
last
chose
year,
the Dolphins.
this year, and he chose the Dolphins. So,
Dude, some of the Dolphins, I mean, they're an attractive team for players and for coaches.
Well, Miami, it's the city.
Yeah, I guess.
but also right now, players want to play with good teams, and
That's
I
true.
think the Dolphins are a good team right
That's
now.
true. Because
Jalen Ramsey's a flashy guy who wants to play in a flashy place. Like
The Dolphins are winning the
sign
AFC
anywhere.
East. I ain't afraid of anyone.
Wait, you're not afraid of anybody? You said you don't mean that though.
Not in his division.
In my division, I'm not afraid of anyone in my division.
You don't mean that though.
I do mean that.
The Jets with Aaron Rodgers, you're not afraid of them.
No, because
they're leaps and bounds better than y'all with Aaron Rodgers.
leaps and bounds. You
Yes.
think Aaron Rodgers makes the Jets leaps and bounds better than the Miami Dolphins? Why?
Yeah, because he's a 2-time MVP, 1 year removed.
How much does a quarterback isn't going to
And
change
he's got
your
weapons.
entire
He's got
fucking team?
Brees Hall is one of the best young running backs in the
Bro,
league.
I
I
don't
know
give
he's
a
going
fuck
to come
about
in.
a
I know he's
running
going to
back.
come in.
What
after
wide
a few
receivers
seasons.
is he throwing to
Garrett
besides
Wilson
Garrett
is one of the
Wilson?
best young receivers in the league.
One
Bro,
receiver.
I-
One receiver.
But
He's
it's
going to throw to
getting-
Alan Lazard? They just
Yes.
gave up Elijah Moore.
As if Alan Lazard wasn't great with Aaron Rodgers
He's
last year
fine.
in the past
He's
couple years, and now
fine.
he's going to have the same quarterback
He's
throwing to
fine.
him.
He's fine. But that's it. He's fine. Give me
they-
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Yes, me too. Of
Okay.
course.
So what else is he doing? Who
The
else is
defense
throwing
is
him?
much better. We talked about the Dolphins. Where you're talking
That's
about the
not-
Dolphins. You like the Dolphins because of the defense is going to improve from what because they were terrible last year. They're going to improve. Well, we already know the Jets have a great defense. They don't have to improve. So they're already much better defensively.
going
Make
to.
your
And they're
re-sign your
still
middle
going
linebacker.
to. Offensively, they're gonna get better. Like they had Brees Hall they lost him after.
But
a
you're
few
yelling
games.
at me for saying the Dolphins' defense is going to get better, and now you're telling me the Jets' offense is going to get better when you add Aaron Rodgers. It's the same argument.
Well, but that's we know that.
And I know that the defense is going to improve from being one of the worst units
I
in,
agree, 'cause
in,
they added Jalen
in
Ramsey.
NFL.
I
The
agree.
year before, the Dolphins were one of the best units in the NFL with worse talent
On defense?
on defense. The
right,
Dolphins
cool.
were a top
So
seven
I think
unit.
the Jets are more complete, and then
They're not.
The Bills are always going to compete because Josh Allen's the best quarterback in that division.
Fair. I'm still not afraid. I like my chances with the Dolphins if Tua can stay healthy.
And then the Patriots once they add Lamar Jackson.
Facts.
Have
All
fun
right.
with Mac Jones.
Well, that's it for this
That was
episode
deep.
of
That was
CAPSOFF.
thorough. I mean, that was fun, honestly.
Let us
thorough.
know what you think that all these teams should do in order to become Super Bowl contenders. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Facts. Don't
Comment
forget.
below what you want us to talk about because we're always looking for good off-season topics, whether it's what's the best Disney film or
Yes.
or who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. Whatever you think, let us know in the comments. Also, if you want to bet on the NFL futures, if you want to take one of these teams to win the Super Bowl, go to thegameday.com. You're going to find the best sportsbook offers, the best odds, anything, all the best advice, who to bet on. The Giants are probably a safe bet. No, you'll get better advice than from me, from the actual people on the website. So definitely head to thegameday.com. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
And?
Prop bets. We're still doing the NHA promo.
No house
so
advantage.
No house advantage.
no house advantage. Did we check if they're doing CBB March Madness?
I don't. Well, considering it's over with today, it doesn't matter.
Well, it does because this episode comes out today.
It's true.
Facts.
But regardless if they're not, a lot of NBA games. We're getting close to the end of the season. The Mavs
Yeah.
fucking blow. But you
Dude,
can bet on a
playoffs
lot
are
of-
coming up though, and you'll be able to bet on
Yeah,
the
playoffs
no
are
house
coming up.
The
advantage.
Heat fucking blow too.
No
though.
house advantage. If you sign up with the code, is it CAPSOFF?
CAPSOFF.
With code
All
CAPSOFF,
caps.
they will match up to $100 of.
That's pretty fire.
It's a lot of money.
Deposit. So definitely go do that. I did it. I made some money. It was pretty
shit,
dope,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
Sick.
It was pretty sweet. I got that $100 bonus.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Dude, so worth it.
All right.
All right.
But yeah, so definitely be sure to do that. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Disagree with any of these takes? Let us know in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 10K. Jack's getting an ass tat if he does. And for any of these sports betting offers, picks, analysis, whatever you might need, head over to thegameday.com. We got everything. We're basically giving away money at this point. Head over to thegameday.com. Check it out.